Hi, I'm Joshua,
And I'm Jeremy.
and this is the Brothers Judah.
Welcome.
Welcome. What would you like to talk about today?
I don't know. There's a few things. One particular thing can kind of tie into what we talked about last week, but it's more of a general trend. If there's not a topic that you really want to do, you can do that. Is there the one that you were thinking?
I just wanted to elaborate when I said to bow out of the fight last week. I kind of wanted to touch on that again, but
But let's do that first,
okay.
and then we can figure it out. Okay, start
Okay.
there.
Well, basically, so when I said bow out of the fight, I was talking about bow out of like arguing with the talking heads in an unproductive way that doesn't actually solve any problems. I didn't mean that we shouldn't be fighting for good or fighting for
Okay.
to make the world a better place.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was thinking maybe we can talk about some of those ways that we can be effective at actually doing good.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, definitely. We never want to give up on fighting for good. Yeah, I think I understood what you meant about
Okay.
bowing out of that type of fighting,
Yeah.
the thing that everyone gets caught up in.
Yeah.
People almost go on autopilot and they start talking and start doing things.
Yeah.
Stepping back from that. Yeah. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's good. I mean, what I wanted to talk about was I feel this, and I mentioned it in the past, but this growing divide that's getting stronger and stronger. Over the years, past decade or a little more, they've been dividing us on a lot of things.
What do you mean
Wealth. Well, I don't really know who they are, but the general trend and the feeling from, I guess, mainly the media, but other people as well. I mean, the public, maybe they're following. I don't know, chicken and the egg, who's first. But
Negative trends.
negative trends
are dividing us.
are dividing us on a lot of different things: race, wealth, sex. I mean, it's been age with "Okay, Boomer." I mean, like different comments.
It really bothers me when people talk about the young kid. What is the young generation?
Millennials, they call.
It really bothers me when they talk about millennials in a negative way.
Yeah, and I've probably been guilty of that, and it's. But yeah, I mean, a lot of division, and now I'm finding even more so. Now with what's going on with the global pandemic, things on that nature. But I've found that people, and with the election, people are more and more so. They're blocking friends, stopping talking to people, being more suspicious of people. It happened to me where a friend stopped talking to me. We mentioned a few episodes ago, back in I think it was May. I looked. But the same thing is now happening. I'm seeing to other friends, and friends I'm talking to have been complaining to me that they're losing friends over it. And it's not just the one topic, but say the election. Oh, you voted for this person, I'm no longer your friend. But other issues as well. Oh, you don't do this, I'm not your friend. And so that's kind of been bothering me a lot.
So, what do you want to talk about that? Like why it's happening, or what we can do about it, or
I don't know. I just want people to be more understanding and maybe try to put themselves in the other person's shoes. Try to be more open and I don't know. Instead of just, oh, you disagree with me, you're insert name here. More of a, oh, well, why do you disagree with me? Well, it doesn't mean you have to change your opinion. It just means you have to understand maybe what they're thinking, and it could be a teaching opportunity, or it could be a learning opportunity. I mean, it's
they once so I once heard that the concept that the transition between an ape and a human being, or an animal and a human being, let's say, like if you're picturing evolution, right? The first ape that became a human being, that transition, what was that in consciousness? And I thought I had heard that it was a self-awareness, because animals are just basically running on instinct and aren't necessarily, I don't know if apes are necessarily self-aware, like have awareness of their own consciousness. So I thought that was maybe a marker of a human being. And I was thinking like the next step in evolution is having awareness of another person's perspective.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like some people are only aware of their own perspective.
That's very interesting.
And they can't fathom even as an intellectual exercise, another perspective, and it's odd to me.
I think a lot of people think they do, though. I think a lot of people think they do, but they're not. Actually, I think a lot of people haven't even thought of that. But then if you were to ask someone, I think they do, even though I feel like most people don't.
Yeah.
And there are times I've noticed that sometimes I'm very aware of other people, and sometimes I notice that I haven't been aware. Like all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, and I've realized that I haven't been aware at this period of time in the past, and so
Yeah, but that taking it personally thing, because like I'm pretty passionate about like politics, let's say. I don't really care about politics that much, but I'm passionate about an opinion. But I'm not angry at the opposite opinion.
Yeah.
I used to be
Yeah.
really, really, really angry, and I think the difference is an experience of like getting to a point of like to get like the ego is a challenging topic, because even people with like egos talk about egos, and it's like, so it's hard to talk about, but like we have to like get to a place within ourselves where we almost get squashed a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we have to get humbled, I think, by life, and when that happens, there's like a letting go, and like other people's opinions you can see more objectively. Like I can look at someone of the opposing political views, and I could think it's completely ridiculous, and I could think it's corruption, and I can think it's made up and propaganda and all the things that they think of the opposite side. But I could say, I understand why they're thinking like that.
Yeah.
Like because I've been there, because I flipped sides when I had this kind of like personal reckoning. But also B, it's like, I don't know, like I found peace within myself, so I can be okay with other people's stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. There's a couple topics I want to go to. One is the humble, because being humble is extremely important. Another one, maybe we'll go that.
But in terms of the divide, because it's
Okay.
like what's creating a divide, and what can we do about it?
So, see, I haven't settled on what is the cause. I'm still torn between whether, do you know the nature versus nurture argument? Some people think it's only nature, some people think it's only nurture, some people think it's both. I'm not sure if it's a natural, like organic rising, or if there's something that's purposefully manipulating and pushing out, or if it's a combination of both. So like,
I don't understand what you mean.
so has, like what's creating the divide? If it's
You're talking about in society?
In
Is
society,
it a
is
nature
it-
and nurture in society
Well,
thing?
no,
Or
I
is it
just
on an individual level.
I just mentioned nature and nurture to show like the three options and to kind of relate it. But I'm not talking about nature and nurture now. What I'm talking about is this divide that's going on. Is it arising organically, or is there somebody behind the scenes, like in Wizard of Oz,
But
with
even
a
if
curtain,
there are
manipulating it?
people behind the scenes with negative intentions,
Yeah,
they still arose organically from something.
that's true.
We're all bound by the natural laws. We're all bound by
That's
God's
true.
laws.
That's true.
So it's kind of irrelevant. It's
Okay.
like, I mean, personally, I believe that there are evil people in the world who intentionally harm others and engineer and conceive complex ways to do that and act them out. And I think that's a large part of what's going on. But then at the same time, it's kind of irrelevant. It's like we're all bound by the natural laws, and we gotta do what we gotta make the best of it and find a way to live. And
It also goes back to we can only control ourselves.
Yeah.
We can only control ourselves, what we do, our interactions. Yeah. So I guess let's start there. How do we control ourselves? And maybe ways that that I can be better. Like I know I had mentioned that there are times where I'm unaware of people, what's going on when I'm thinking that. And maybe if I control myself, maybe I'll then spread outward.
I think part of the anger that creates the divide comes from thinking. So like I have a friend, a close friend that I grew up with that I think I mentioned in a previous episode, who is on the opposite political spectrum from me, complete opposite. And part of the anger, like if I start to feel angry at his perspective or his opinion, and I'm like, how can he possibly think that? It's literally the opposite. I think it has to do with me feeling like if I change his opinion, I can change the world.
Yeah.
It's like the world rests in the balance, and it's not changing because he won't change his opinion.
That's
and
interesting.
if I can convince him to change his opinion, I can save the world. And it's like an ego thing for me because it's like I could save the world. It's like I got to play God. And then it's also like his opinion is not like it's thinking that his opinion is affecting me.
Well, I think thinking his opinion is affecting.
Yeah.
I've noticed that whenever I get angry, if someone expresses a viewpoint or something that I then disagree with, the times I get angry are when I relate that viewpoint to other things that are larger, and if you took them down that road, it leads to something very either scary or dangerous. So,
but you feel responsible for that in a sense. Like why would the fact that it leads to something dangerous, why would that make you angry? And I'm trying desperately not to shiver because it's so
I know,
cold in here. So I don't want to shiver for the camera, but I'm freezing.
I can
it
hear
looks
it
like I'm about to shake.
I can hear it a little in your voice.
Anyway,
So
why?
A little warm up.
I'm like, don't shiver. So why? So you see some negative outcome, kind of like something growing to a negative outcome.
Yeah.
Why does that make you angry? Is it because you feel responsible? Like if you don't change it, like.
I don't know if it's that I feel responsible. I think if this person comes along and I see that and they're saying something and I envision what they're saying or doing with this whole bad event or bad thing that could happen or bad thing that is happening and going on that I don't like, it's like I'm seeing all of that rather than that one thing. And my mind is going, oh, that person and that idea, and I was like, no, it's not good. It's almost like warning.
Is it going to negatively affect you?
I mean,
because when I get angry, it's because I think it's going to negatively affect me.
Yeah, it'll definitely negatively like let's say that this person. Okay, so let's back to the gun control issue because it's not a hot topic right now. So, but
technically,
so let's say that I believed in having a gun because I felt like it could protect me. And then this person comes along and says something, oh, people shouldn't have guns or something. Yeah. I envision all of this scenario where, all my guns are taken away and now I can't protect, and now I'm with my family, and now someone, mugs us or people rob our house and we're trapped and my wife's getting raped and some horrible thing.
Some hypothetical,
it's
that affects you.
That affects
people
me,
also get upset because they think it's going to affect other people.
Well,
from their own compassion for other people.
Yeah, mainly like my son. If I think it's going to really affect my son,
or even some stranger, like people who've never been affected by gun violence get upset when there's a school shooting because they don't want kids getting hurt.
Yeah,
so there's a human
kids
compassion, and like we said in a previous episode, both sides want what's best. Like we both think we want what's best for people. But in terms of the anger, it's like
I feel like
mainly.
Well, I was going to say I feel like it stems from love though, because the more like with the gun control issue, if I didn't love other people or I guess love myself too, then I wouldn't care if I had no gun and couldn't protect my family.
Yeah,
it's love and fear.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if I was a psychopath and I didn't care what happened to anybody, then I wouldn't care. It wouldn't make me angry, and I'd sleep like a baby at night, and I wouldn't have any nightmares. But I think the like at least from my own experience, when I used to get really angry about politics, it was a sense of being right, wanting that I'm right, and it was, which is ego, and it was also a sense of the world negatively affecting me.
Yeah.
Or others. I would extend that caring to others. It's negatively affecting me and others.
Yeah.
And then when I had my personal reckoning, which was basically when I converted to Christianity, part of that process was a complete, like, personal responsibility and also a surrender to God's in charge. So I think something happened where I went from being really angry and bitter to feeling at peace. And I think that was realizing, A, that God's in charge and I'm not, of the big picture.
Yeah.
And that there's not really much I can do at that scale. Like, the work is really in the small, little, humble interactions. And then B, it was like getting over that feeling of other people are negatively affecting me and just being like, I'm responsible for what I'm responsible for. God's in charge, and what other people do to me, I can't control. It was like the Serenity Prayer type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, also what gets me is what I think is best is not always what's best for me. So, and I relate it to somebody who misses their flight on 9/11, and then that plane crashes. When they miss their flight, they're upset. They're mad. They're, oh, this and that. Oh.
Yeah.
And then they find out that plane crashed. They are so grateful.
But that's part of trusting in God and having faith.
That you said.
Yeah. Like, kind of trusting that, like, there's a higher power that's, and there are laws, benevolent laws that everything's operating under.
Yeah.
So for me, it really came down to faith, and with the divisiveness in this culture.
So that actually could lead. I feel like there's been a general trend for many years, I don't know, 50 years or so, against faith and moving away from that and more towards the self. And that's a whole topic we could go into, and maybe that's the cause. Maybe that's why people are getting more and more divided. Or
that's
a
definitely
cause.
part of it. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, we don't. In the 1 minute we have right now, we don't have.
In terms of the divisiveness, I think, like, it's an individual thing. Like, it goes back to we can't control other people. Free will.
All right, then you know what?
What?
The tipping point, maybe, how you said your friend is like the tipping point. Maybe it's not the friend. Maybe it's us. So maybe we view ourselves as the tipping point. And every moment of interaction, I think, I'm now the tipping point. Do I choose light or dark?
Yeah.
Good or evil? And when you're interacting with people, and I start to feel, say, evil creep up, and I start to get frustrated with the slow person in front of me, like, move, I'm late.
Yeah.
No, shift the tipping point back to the light. Look at ourselves. Okay.
And if I'm angry, that's my anger.
Yeah.
That's my responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not another person's. So I have to come to terms with it.
Okay. All right. Well, then the next week and beyond, I'm going to try to do that. View myself as the tipping point and see how it goes. And then next week, because we only have 20 seconds left, these go too quick. We have to get a new camera.
I know.
So.
All right. We'll wrap it up.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Till the next show. Subscribe below if you want more fascinating, stimulating conversation.
Stimulating. All right. See you later.